Hello, I'm Daniel. I host the Kansas City Meditation Podcast, and I lead practice at Ubuntu Village in Kansas City, Missouri every Monday at 7 p.m. If you're in Kansas City, you should come see me. These teachings will always be offered free of charge, but if you feel compelled to make a donation, please see the link in the show notes. Thank you for listening. Hello, I'm Daniel. I want to give a teaching from a text that I've been reading. And that text is this. It's called A Path with Heart by Jack Kornfield. A Guide Through the Perils and Promises of Spiritual Life. And the thing I'm going to talk about from this book is a list. And it is Jack Kornfield's list of signs of spiritual maturity. Signs of spiritual maturity. And the reason why that jumped out at me, the reason why I felt like that was worth talking about is I think we reflect a lot on why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? Are we trying to attain some supernormal state? Are we trying to become more than human beings, right? And I think, or should we not think of goals at all? Should we not think about trying to be better, trying to be happy, or should we just do the practice and not worry about it? Those are kind of the two camps, I think. And I think that it helps to reflect on the list of signs of spiritual maturity and to really think, if we think about this list, we can think about, I don't have that at all. I've got a long way to go, right? Or we can think I'm doing really well, but maybe it's not as good to think I'm doing really well. But when we start to think that we've almost got it and we're almost all the way there, maybe having this list can help us because we think, yeah, but I'm not that patient or whatever. So, this is Jack Kornfield's list of signs of spiritual maturity. Number 1, relinquishing of idealism and perfectionism. So, sometimes people start this path and they think things will be perfect. Like, I'm going to get great at meditation. I'm going to just get all these insights and also be really relaxed and learn how to concentrate and be aware. I'm not going to suffer and have desires anymore. I won't get in arguments anymore. This is something that we're working at. Ideas about perfection aren't helping us. Less perfection. We should try less for perfection, more for being open to the struggle and to our imperfections and letting things be the way they are. A lot of people will tell you, a lot of teachers will tell you when you start asking questions about enlightenment or about stilling the mind or about perfect experiences, they will tell you just work on kindness and just work on sitting and just do that and see what happens. This path is not about perfection, it's about progress. And I think a lot of people come to it and they think other people are getting perfect and they're not. And that's problematic. The truth is that we're all struggling and we're all in the same situation. Number 2 on the list is kindness. Kindness. It's a good sign when we start doing things for others because we want to. Not because we fake it, not because we think we're supposed to, not in a transactional way, I'm nice to you so you're nice to me, but rather because we want to. And I think that many of us have that for the people we love the most, right? I do things for my partner Alicia without thinking of getting anything in return, and I think that's what relationships should be. But we want to broaden that and have that with everyone. We want to do things for others and not think about what we're going to get, or even not think about how good it's going to make us feel to do good deeds. And that's a little harder maybe. Number 3 in the list of signs of spiritual maturity is patience. And this is what we normally think of as patience, but it's also a little bit more extensive than that. It's being okay with waiting. Being okay with things happening differently than we expected. And sometimes things happen really differently than we expect, right? Or want. And in a way, waiting for things to happen is a sort of impatience in itself. What we want to try to do, or rather, what we will do if we're really getting to that spiritually mature level, what we'll do is we'll be able to wait in line, or rather, not wait in line, but be in a line and just be in line. Just be in line. That's probably my struggle. I don't, man, anytime I have to wait in line anywhere, I'm like, this is bullshit, right? And that's so silly. That's so silly, but that's how I feel in my head. I'm like, man, why do I have to wait, right? So this is probably my hard one. Number 4 is immediacy. Immediacy, and what does that mean? That means understanding that what's important is here and now, being the present, not the future, not the past. Our happiness, our potential for happiness is here. And when we cling to the future or the past, we struggle. Living with what is, not about what's happening so much as our ability to be here with what's happening instead of fantasizing about the future or reflecting on the past. That's not to say we shouldn't plan for the future, and it's not to say we shouldn't learn from our past, but we shouldn't live in either of those places. We should live here in the present because it's really the only place we can live. Number 5 is integrated personal practice. And that is when and again, this is the list of signs of spiritual maturity, that is when our mindfulness and compassion start to become part of who we are. So it's not just that we're mindful when we're sitting on the cushion, but rather we're able to bring that in our day-to-day life and pay attention when we need to and be aware of the world around us and stop sleepwalking through life so much. We want this to be able to manifest all the time and not just when we're trying to practice. Although it's very good when it can manifest when we're trying to practice. It's even better when it just comes up, when we're not, and this is about kind of effortlessly, like just being more aware of the world around you without setting that intention. It just happens. That's integrated personal practice. And it applies to compassion practices as well. Just kindness just comes up in you. Just somebody does something to frustrate you and you're just okay. You're just okay. And number 6 is questioning. And this is, yes, it is having a healthy doubt of others, but it's questioning ourselves as well. Questioning everything we think and believe. Not clinging so tightly to the labels we put on ourselves, to the baggage we carry, to everything we've put on the world. We're projecting everything and we're holding on to our beliefs very tightly. And this is about sort of questioning that, sort of holding your beliefs more loosely. Because this isn't about beliefs. This is about life experience. This is about moving through the world as it is, not as we think it should be, not as we are, not as we want it to be, but as it is. So that is questioning. And number 7 in the list signs of spiritual maturity is flexibility. Kind of goes with number 6 a little. Not being so rigid in our ideas and beliefs. It's having a mind that says, I wonder if I can think about this differently. It's also sort of being okay with change, being okay with disappointment. It's the mind that says, and I like this, right now it's like this. Right now it's like this. Being with what is. So flexibility is about when something happens, I can suffer about that, or I can accept it and figure out how to deal with it. That's a very big thing to reflect on. I can accept what's happening, or I can suffer over it and just struggle on how it's not what I want. Number 8 is the ability to embrace opposites. That is, accepting and embracing the fact that there's joy and there's sorrow in life. There's pleasure and pain. And we don't want to obsess over the joy and we don't want to suffer over the sorrow. I think that when bad things happen to us, sometimes we beat the ground and we say, why me? Why not someone else? Why me? And that that is suffering over the sorrow. That is not saying right now it's like this. What am I going to do? Which is a better response. What am I going to do is a better response than just why me? And number 9 is better relationships. Better relationships. Learning how to treat and accept others in a better way. Willingness to be fully in, open and honest. Loving, connecting, accepting, being genuine. I think a lot of what I like to say about this path is it helps us be more genuine, be more honest with ourselves and others, be more real. Relationships are part of our practice because all of life is part of our practice. And relationships are wonderful opportunities to manifest wisdom and compassion because relationships require a great deal of wisdom and compassion to succeed. So I know in my experience, better relationships have manifested in my life. When I practice more good relationships manifest. And so I'm not talking about just your relationship with your partner, but all your relationships, your friendships, your relationships with your family, all of your relationships. When we have a willingness to be open and honest, our relationships are better. And it especially applies to your relationship with your partner, but it applies to everything. It applies to everything. We should be genuine. We should show up for the people in our lives. That's what we're talking about. And then the last on the signs of spiritual maturity is ordinariness. Ordinariness. That is understanding that the truth is there's nothing special about all this. We're just being here, and because it's ordinary, no one's excluded. This is not a path I can do because I'm really special and really prepared for it. It's a path anyone can do. It's a path anyone can do. And it's really all just this. That's all it comes down to is it's just this. And when we think that way, then it doesn't feel far away and difficult. It's just this. So that was the signs of spiritual maturity, and I took it from Jack Kornfield in his book, A Path with Heart, and I hope this talk has been helpful to you. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me.
Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.